Thank you.
I just watched his very first episode. He didn't give a fuck.
I love David Letterman, and he was one of those people who was doing wild comedy on television when nobody was doing that kind of comedy.
It's been one of those nights.
He really affirmed the notion of, aren't we all just monkeys with clothes on? Dave was very much, hey, we're all just people here having fun tonight together.
We're just trying to have fun. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here she is, Madonna.
I vaguely remember watching a Madonna when she like,
Well, fuck the tape, fuck the list, everything. Money's made you soft.
she took control of that interview, and it was exciting.
You should give people a hard time.
I can suspend that behavior tonight if you like.
There's like an Andy Kaufman interview where like Andy Kaufman comes out with like a booger hanging out of his nose. and then it looks like he's homeless, then he begs the audience for money.
I know this sounds like a cliche, but if you could any extra money that you have, I would appreciate it.
And they like kick him out of the studio. It's like the best. It's amazing.
Please say hello to Jay Farrow, ladies and gentlemen.
I like going back and forth with him.
Dave, I'm old enough to be your father, and I'm young enough to still be inside of you.
It was amazing. And then him asking me to do Barack on the show was kind of cool.
Says here President Obama. Anything there?
Oh, man.
People still consider the United States the safest and greatest country on earth, rightfully so. But
If you don't get off my back, I'm gonna start handing out ass whippings like sweet potato pies at Thanksgiving.
I loved watching his monologue because I was a freelance writer for his monologue, so anytime he was doing those jokes, or he would say one of my jokes and I was standing right there. If I didn't get a joke on and I was standing there right before he pointed and I see that the segment was over, I'd go, come on!
Yeah.
It was a feeling, you know, watching your idol do something that you wrote is insane.
I have the honor of going on David Letterman in the final month of his run. Dave has always been at the top of his game. I'm going to be very sad to see him go.
Well, can you tell us about your days with the Unabomber?
Probably my favorite Dave Letterman interview ever is he's sitting there the entire time and listening to this weird sort of meta thing that Joaquin's doing where he's not really answering any of the questions. And he brilliantly, at the end of it, looks at Joaquin, who has not been helpful at all the entire interview, and says to him,
And Joaquin, I'm sorry you couldn't be here tonight.
that to me is still one of the greatest improv lines I've ever heard in my life.
I thought Letterman's tribute to Robin Williams was really cool. Hearing like Letterman now as he's getting ready to retire talk about being at the Comedy Store in the late 70s and meeting Robin Williams and Robin Williams blowing his mind and everyone being quite intimidated by his talent, and that Robin Williams then put him on Mork and Mindy and helped him out early on. I just love seeing, like, hearing those stories about people starting out and then, you know, watching them progress through their careers together, and it's a really cool thing.
I used to really like it when Letterman was like kind of mean to people.
I have the feeling about 60% of what you say is crap.
And then he would do the next segment and be like, good old Midwestern boy who couldn't possibly say anything mean.
Any moment with his mom, I think, is always fantastic because I love that she's so game to be part of the show, but she's so willing to be made fun of.
I'm doing the best I can, Mom! You're driving me crazy!
It was always my favorite moments of the show.
I got to do Leno and Letterman and Kimmel and everything, but I mean, that's the show that you always want to do. Letterman, for me, he's the king of it all.
Everybody at home, thank you very much.
You're one of my favorite late night hosts of all time.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.